It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, it's a Friday. We made it to the end of another work week, and as usual, I'm doing a Masterpiece Friday. These are episodes here at the end of the week, which are typically longer. We're either listening to all of an album, half an album, or we're taking a deep dive into a specific song. And that's really what we're up to today. We're listening to music by Jimi Hendrix, y'all. The song is going to be Little Wing, and I've got some cover versions of it on tap. So stay tuned. It's going to be fun. I haven't listened to much on the channel by Jimi Hendrix, mainly because I've been met with blocks on YouTube, and I was enticed to give it another shot by one of our patrons named Ross, and he says that we should really listen to this song called Little Wing, and I'm ready to dive into it. I've heard about this song over the years, but as I got into things today, I realized just how much I don't know about this song, including what it sounds like, y'all. So I may have heard it in the past, but I don't remember, and I'm really looking forward to diving into it. This is a classic tune, written by Jimi, recorded by the Jimi Hendrix Experience for their second album, Axis Bold as Love, which was released in December of 1967. This was only about 7 months after they released their highly successful debut album, which was called Are You Experienced? Right? So just like Are You Experienced, Axis Bold as Love did very well in the charts, especially in Britain and the United States. As for Little Wing, it is a song that is described as a slow-tempo rhythm and blues song, and I read in a little bit knowing that Jimi is a great guitar player, but what I really didn't realize is how much he had honed his playing style over years by playing as an R&B guitarist. And I saw some quotes by him saying how much he really appreciated and loved those experiences, especially getting to learn from watching Curtis Mayfield play. And I found that really a good bit of information because it tells me a little bit more about who Jimi was, that led up to him just kind of breaking out and becoming the famous musician that we know him to be, right? So he developed the main idea for this piece, Little Wing, while he was playing in New York City as part of the Greenwich Village scene with his other band, Jimmy James and the Blue Flames, and that was during the summer of 1966. Later on, he worked on the song with the Jimi Hendrix Experience while they were at the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival in Monterey, California. And the piece ended up being recorded in October of 1967, and by December, the whole album's out, and we get the song. So let's dive into it, y'all. Jimi Hendrix is on the vocals. He is also on the guitar, and he's playing some glockenspiel, too. How about that? We have Noel Redding on the bass and Mitch Mitchell on the drums. I am really looking forward to hearing this, y'all. How bluesy is it going to be? I don't know. Let's find out. Off we go. Here's the glockenspiel. E flat minor. His soul down to fa. Flat 6 to flat 7. Nice.
Well, she's walking through the crowd with a circus mind.
It's not a straight blues progression, but it is bluesy.
Butterflies and zebras and moonbeams. I'm sad, she
Verse
comes
2.
to me.
So E flat minor to G flat major, then up a step to A flat, back down to E flat.
It's alright, she
E
said.
flat,
It's alright.
bomb, bomb, steps down by half step.
Take anything you want from me.
Then the relative major,
Anything.
and then flat 6 to flat 7 to 1. Back in the minor key.
Fly on, little wing.
Fly on, little wing. Yeah, it moves to a relative major for a split second. And the resolution is to the minor key. That can't be the end of that song. How? How did y'all do it back in the day? I mean, I just sat down and hit play, and it's already over. Wow. I loved it, though. I really, really did. They're in E flat minor. Where's my chord? I always get caught up in my chord here. Bum bum. Goes to the relative major, and then the 4 chord back to 1, then the minor 5, right? Then yum bum. And it somehow gets to there, the relative major. Bum bum. And the 4 chord of the major key is C flat, or depends on if you're in sharps or flats, but B to C sharp, steps back up to E flat, right? Or D sharp, depending on how you want to play it. But from that relative major key, it's 4, 5, 1, or flat 6, flat 7, 1 in the relative minor key. And that's what he was doing there. That flat 6 and flat 7, 1, I yell out those chords all the darn time. Y'all, they're used quite a bit, and the reason why they're so great is because they can be a subdominant and a dominant to the major key, or an altered subdominant and dominant to the minor key, to the relative minor key. And it works either way, whether it's 4, 5, 1 or flat 6, flat 7 to a different one. Both of them work quite well, and are often used. That was a lot of fun. So I found a quote that Jimmy said about this one. He said in a 1968 interview that while in Monterey, he was looking at everything that was around, he was taking everything in, and he figured that he'd try to, in the lyrics of this song, personify that healing, that contentment feeling that he was experiencing by channeling it into the form of a woman and calling her Little Wing so that she could come down and visit for a while and then fly away. I don't know if he's talking about a groupie or an angel or some kind of spiritual guardian or like a Mary Poppins type of figure. I don't know, but look into verse 2 here. There's only 2 verses and there's no chorus. He says, when I'm sad, she comes to me. With 1,000 smiles she gives to me free. It's all right, she said, it's all right. Take anything you want from me. Dig that? Anything. Fly on, little wing. Fly on. You know, it's nice to know that there might be some sort of entity out there, some sort of presence that's there to help us when we need it, right? Really a cool idea. So, like I said, like many songs of this era, it's quite short. It's only about 2.5 minutes. And as I'm looking at the track listing for this album, it's got 15 tracks that only take up about 39 minutes. It's a whole different ballgame in the late 60s. I mean, I've come across some prog albums where you can get 39 minutes of music in just one or two tracks, you know? Anywho, quite cool. So I read about many of these cover versions that have been created over the years to Little Wing, and our friend Ross mentioned some of them in his recommendation to me, and a few of them caught my eye. So while we're here and we're listening, I want to listen to these other versions of the song, specifically this one that we're going to listen to next by Sting. How about that? From Jimi Hendrix to Sting. But the reason why it's the one from Sting really jumped out at me is because I read that Gil Evans, the famous jazzer, right, had arranged the song for his band in his trademark jazzy style. And in 1987, Gil provided a similar arrangement for a new cover by Sting for Sting's second solo album, which was called Nothing Like the Sun. And it turned out to be one of Gil's last musical endeavors because he died the next year in 1988. So it made me really want to hear this song. And this is a great album, by the way. Sting is one musician that I do know. And this particular album has some great songs on it. Be Still My Beating Heart, Englishman in New York, They Dance Alone, Fragile. Great song. We'll Be Together. But Little Wing is also on this album. And it features Sting, obviously, but Gil Evans and his orchestra. And Gil himself is on keyboards, y'all. Branford Marsalis is on some saxophones. Hiram Bullock is on guitars. Mark Egan, who also played with Gil, is on the bass. And Kenwood Denard is on the drums. This is going to be, I think, quite a different sound and aesthetic, and I am curious. So let's listen to Little Wing as covered by Sting. Here we go. Okay, the track has started. Long fade in.
She's walking through the clouds where the circus man is running around. Butterflies and
Minor
zebras
5.
and moonbeams and fairy tales.
Relative major.
All she ever talks about,
Flat 7 to 4
riding with the wind.
to 5, and that's going to be flat 7 to 1.
She comes to me with 1,000 smiles. She gives to me free. It's alright, she said. Take anything you want from me.
And this is up a half step. Yeah, it's up in E instead of E flat. E instead of E flat. Relative major. Whole different style of guitar playing, but I love it. I think that's Hiram on this one. extend that dominant a bit. Goes up to E minor.
Well, she's walking
It's a great progression.
through the clouds.
A repeat of verse 1.
It's running round. Butterflies and zebras and moonbeams and fairy tales. Oh, she ever thinks about me, riding with the wind.
It just goes to show you that a solid tune can be adapted into so many different little styles of musical expression.
It's alright, she said. Take anything.
The bass instrument in this is really strange. I will say that. I haven't heard this version either, y'all. I've heard the main radio hits off of this album, but I haven't heard this one. And I love that it's a pretty faithful adaptation. The progression is the same. I'm sure that Jimmy was tuned down to E flat and playing on open strings. And this is up in the more common E instead of E flat. But the progression is the same. The voicings are very similar as well. They're just using that little bit of a different aesthetic as they played. That was great. Awesome. So I've got another one, y'all. We're here and it's a Friday and we're having a good time. And Stevie Ray Vaughan has a cover of this and it won a Grammy. How could I not? I mean, literally, how could I not? So guess what? We're going to listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan's version. You can go and do something else if you want to. I'm going to stay here and listen to Stevie Ray play this song. So apparently, Stevie covered this in 1984. It was recorded in New York City in 1984, and it remained unreleased until 1991. When it was included on The Sky is Crying, which was the fifth and final studio album by Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble because it was posthumously released. Stevie passed away, and this compilation of songs that they had recorded earlier in their career came out only about 14 months after his death, and it ended up winning a Grammy for Best Instrumental Performance, rock performance, I believe. And I haven't heard it, so we're going to fix that right now. So let me get my notes over here. Stevie Ray is on guitars, Reese Winans is on keyboards, Tommy Shannon on the bass, and Chris Layton is on the drums. I am betting that they're going to be tuned down to E flat, if not into a different key. But I'm not expecting E. With my knowledge of Stevie from times past, I bet he's in E flat. I'll be listening for that. But I'm very curious to hear what he does with it. We're not going to hear any vocals. I think this is all instrumental. And let's have a good old time, friends. Here is Little Wing as covered by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Off we go. This is just right for a Friday, isn't it? Come on now. Listen to those harmonics. Also proves that a really solid progression does not need to be fiddled with at all. The one thing that's consistent through all of these versions is the progression itself. The melodic contours, especially in the solos, are going to be provided in the moment by the players. Therapy, y'all. So the first phrase, 1 to 3 to 4, back to 1. To the 5, next phrase, down by half step to the 4, flat 6, 3, the relative major, down to flat 6, to flat 7, I don't have anywhere to be, y'all. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy some Stevie. That's rad, y'all. Boom. You could almost say that it modulates to the relative major for a split second in that third phrase of the 4-phrase structure. But it doesn't stay there long. release this. The people of the mid-'80s were missing out. Wow. And they ended in the relative major. Huh. That was special. What a lovely tune. I can't believe I haven't heard that through the years, for one. You know, the longer I go doing these daily Dougs, I'm like, really? I haven't... You were a sheltered person. No, I was knee deep in classical repertoire is what I was for a long time. The reason why I say that this is bluesy but not a blues progression is because it's got far more chords in it than a regular blues progression has. Your basic blues progression, if we're using that minor key, 1 to the 4, back to 1, right? You got the 5, or the major 5 to the minor 4 to the minor 1. Boom, 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 boom. And so on and so forth. This one has a lot of chords in it. I'm going to try to remember some of them. It starts on the E flat, the 1 chord, goes up to the 3 chord, then to the 4, and then back down. Okay, I think that's the first phrase. Then it goes to the 5, and then goes down by half step, then lands on the 4, right? And then it goes to there, the flat 6, right? But that's 4 to the relative major, right? And now that we're in the relative major, it's 1, then flat 7, then 4. But 4, this B chord, is also flat 6. If you go back up to 7, then 1, right? So they're in the middle. I think I got all of it. From the B flat to the down, da, down. Something like that. Then it goes from the B to the C sharp to the D sharp, or E flat if you want to call it that. And you get a lovely song progression through this, through these the chords, and it provides a lovely way to emote and have sort of an open feel to it. That I did forget to mention the 5 down to the 4 is very similar, or is drawn from that blues progression that starts on the 5 and goes to the 4. Instead of going 4, 5, 1, it goes 5, 4, 1, or minor. Either way you want to do it. But that move from the 5 down to the 4 is reminiscent of a blues progression. It's just got a whole lot of other little passes in there. It's a beautiful progression, rock solid progression, and it just goes to show you, whether it's Stevie playing it in a blues style, Jimmy playing it in his original style, or Gil and Sting with Branford Marsalis and all those guys doing it their way. It's a beautiful song, and I love the sentiment in the lyrics. It's a simple little lyric, y'all. When she's walking through the clouds with a circus mind that's running round, butterflies and zebras and moonbeams and fairy tales, that's all she ever thinks about, riding with the wind. And then verse 2, when I'm sad, she comes to me. With 1,000 smiles she gives to me free. It's all right, she said, it's all right. Take anything you want from me. Dig that? Anything. Fly on, little wing. Yeah, little wing. And that is where my camera, for some reason, just decided to shut itself off. I went on for another couple of minutes before calling it a day, and I didn't even realize that I wasn't recording video anymore. So, luckily, we got all of the main meat of the footage that I needed to share with y'all for this video, and I'm really glad about that, because I would have been ashamed to have lost that. But I really did enjoy going through and dissecting this piece. It was more of a harmonic tour than I know I was expecting. And I was really thrilled by that, and I just loved the playing of all these people. I mean, the artists that we had on today's program. I mean, that's quite a carpool. The Jimi Hendrix Experience, Sting, with Gil Evans and Branford Marsalis and all those guys, and then Double Trouble and Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, it's been a really fun Friday and a beautiful piece, a song about someone coming to comfort us and do anything that we need in our time of need. I think it's a wonderful sentiment, and I think it's a great way to send us on our way this week. That will be all for me today, and I hope that y'all have a great weekend. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.
It's the Daily Dog. Welcome to the Daily Dog. The Daily